How's everybody doing? It's Craig here again. I was not going to do a video on this Craftsman. It's basically just a Poulan that's in a different chassis. The power head is almost identical to the Wild thing. The handle's different. This handlebar is different. Chain flag's a little different. The brake flag. Other than that, it's internally it's a Poulan. But we got a little bit of an issue here. So I'll pan this around here. This is the clutch off of this particular saw. Yeah, I know the spring's out of it, but that's not the problem. Let's get this more centered here. There we go. Zoom in just a little bit. Okay. Get this apart. So there's what you have. Back out a little. This is your clutch assembly. Pretty typical for just about any saw of this design. Spring goes in the grooves, holds it together. The shoes slide in and out on the center spider. So the saw coming to my shop, when you turn it up onto the PTO side of the saw, it would die. I immediately thought it was a vacuum leak, so I tore it down, performed a pressure vacuum test, passed. I mean, it didn't even drop a half a pound over 5 minutes. So I thought, okay, there's got to be something else going on here. So I thought, well, you know, maybe it's something in the carburetor. But I also knew that behind the clutch, and I've got it together, so I'm not going to take it back apart, but behind the clutch on these particular saws is a fairly good sized disc. That's the outside of it. Yeah, I don't have, this is the drum, a drum that comes off of a similar saw like this, right here. So that would be your drum. Here would be the washer that goes over the outside. This is actually an inboard clutch. So your drum would be on, similar to that right there. And then this would go over here, and then you put your E-clip on. There's underneath the clutch where it spins onto the crankshaft, there's another washer similar in size to this, if not maybe just a little bit bigger, that goes over the oil pump, that protects the oil pump from debris and stuff. So my initial thought was vacuum leak. It turned out not to be that, so I thought. So my next thought was something in the carburetor. I thought, well, okay, I'll go ahead and look at the carburetor, but first let me pull the clutch off so that I can get to the washer that sits on top of the oil pump. Maybe that might be blocking, because I was using carb cleaner trying to kill it, and I went through like a can of carb cleaner and couldn't get it to die. I guess I left that part out. I mean, over a period of like 20 minutes, I sprayed a whole can of carb cleaner on both sides, down underneath, trying to find some kind of a leak and couldn't find it. So I go to take the clutch off, and this is what I found. I've never seen this before. I'm sure somebody has, but I have not. Let me zoom back in here. I found one of these clutches kind of cocked around like slow, similar to that right there, but it had the spider with it. So it was kind of similar to that right there when I took the drum off. Had a heck of a time getting the drum off of it. The spider is broke. I've never seen one of these spiders break. That is supposed to be one piece. So today's video is, just because your saw dies when you tip it up on one side or the other, don't just assume it's a vacuum leak. Because I done all the tests that everybody else does for vacuum leaks and couldn't kill it, couldn't make it die. When I took it apart and found what I found, I believe what it was doing was binding, and then at an idle it would kill it as it was binding. This is actually, I had an old one in my parts box, and this is the drum that I had the clutch in right here. But I had another clutch. Yeah, that's the drum that I had. So I used the original drum and I put the new clutch in, and it runs fine now. So like I said, that's the basis of today's story. Do not assume that just because it dies when it's rolled up on its side that it is a vacuum leak around the seals. This is proof it will not, or does not have to be that. Okay. Hope you all have a good day. Hope somebody finds this informational. We'll see you all in the next one.